Hello and welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. The final phase is well and truly upon us. Tomorrow, Saturday, the 1st of June, you will see a little more than 50 seats going to polls across different states. But for all practical purposes, ladies and gentlemen, more than 480 seats have voted. This election may already be done and dusted. What are the big factors on which this election depends, on which this election really hinges? What could be the margin between the victory and defeat, whether it is BJP at 270 or 272 past the halfway mark, or BJP at 300 plus, or BJP falling short of 272? What is those critical X factors that could make the difference between an outright runaway victory for the BJP and the NDA on the 4th of June and them falling short? These are some of the X factors, and we'll start with the first big X factor, and this could make or mar this election. We have seen evidence of this in the assembly elections for not just the BJP, for other parties as well. But this is the election where this factor, the M factor, the mahila factor, will come right to the fore. So let's take a look at the elections in the past, in the recent past, where the mahila factor has played a dominant role. In the Madhya Pradesh assembly election, women voters outnumbered their male counterparts. Women were at close to 78%, males just 76%. So that's a 2% difference between the male and the female, and the BJP won. In the same assembly cycle, Rajasthan, in the 2023 assembly cycle, women were 79.7, male was just 74.1. So about 5% difference almost in that. Again, the BJP won in that election. Tripura assembly elections, women were 89%, men were just 85%, a 4% difference. The BJP won. In Uttar Pradesh assembly elections of 2022, big state, biggest state in India, women were 62.21, male voters were under 60%, 59.34, again almost 3% difference. So in a big state like Uttar Pradesh, we're looking at 3% difference between men and women. That is about 75 lakh votes across the 400 plus assembly constituencies of Uttar Pradesh. Uttarakhand also in that same election cycle in 2022, small state, women were 67%, males were just 61%. Again, the BJP won. Assam assembly elections, if you go all the way back to the 2021 cycle, women were 82%, men were 81%. In the Lok Sabha elections of 2019, and this is the biggest clincher, women were 67.18%, men were 67.02%. So about 0.2% difference between men and women. And of course, we know the results, how the BJP won 303. Let me now go across to all our guests who are joining us. This is the first big factor that we'll discuss tonight, and happy to be joined by two fiery women spokespersons, Shazia Ilmi, spokesperson of the BJP, Mahima Singh, spokesperson of the Congress Party. We're also joined by Rahul Verma, senior fellow with the Center for Policy Research, Sanjeev Srivastava, senior journalist, also joining us. Shazia, I just outlined this. Now, the two states that we missed where the women voters made a significant difference, but the BJP did not benefit, is Karnataka in 2023, where women vote outnumbered male votes, and of course the Congress got a bulk of those seats. They got 135 MLAs. Again, women vote gravitated towards the Congress. And Telangana, again in 2023, where women vote outnumbered men vote, and the Congress won the majority there. So, irrespective of who is on the ticket or who is winning or losing, the women vote is making a difference. This time around, why do you believe that the BJP will be the beneficiary of that and not the Congress? Like the Congress, like I said, has benefited. And again, I can cite other examples. Mamata Banerjee in Bengal, Stalin in the DMK in Tamil Nadu. Women vote have decisively voted for these parties in the assembly elections. So why should we believe for Narendra Modi in 2024, the BJP, more women will vote, and that will be advantageous to your party?
I think women voters would not just definitely vote for Modi, they would vote also with a blessing and Ashirwad in their hearts, because this is what Modi means to them. It is not just his popularity, but his credibility amongst the women voters, amongst the senior citizens, amongst the younger ones, who kind of believe that every central welfare scheme that has actually been so successful has always had a woman at its center point. So woman is the fulcrum. And from the last 10 years, the whole idea of how the Prime Minister feels about Nari Shakti, Shakti, what is Shakti, as Shakti Swaroop for him, has been manifested in many, many ways. So whether it's the Awas Yojana, where the beneficiary becomes a woman because it is in her name that the house is registered and allocated, or it's the other schemes of Ujjwala, or it's about the toilets, or it's about the Mudra schemes and benefits.
No, but Shazia, the same women are complaining about price rise, about joblessness, about budgets being constrained. The same women are complaining about all of this, more than the men in fact.
Yeah. So women and men, it's just anatomy that differentiates them, but they're all citizens, they're all people. But if you want to talk about inflation, I can give you the figures. I think you have done it also a few times. Never before have we seen inflation being curbed despite the two black swan events that the whole world saw. And despite that, despite the inflationary trend all over, just see how Modi ji's economic policies have contained that. I can give you the figures for consumer inflation and retail inflation, and you realize that it's actually been checked. If you look at just various schemes where people benefit, so it is a woman at the end of the day, which is why women voters not just love Modi ji, they want to bless him and they want him to continue to be.
Mahima Singh, state after state from Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Assam, and even the Lok Sabha election of 2019, where there was higher women voter turnout than men, they seem to have backed the BJP in humongous numbers. Why should they vote for the Congress party? Why do you believe women are voting for the Congress party this time around?
Jai Hind and Zaka, it is because the Congress party really means it when we talk about women welfare. And if I was to say in the style of a shire, I would say the Congress party has said to the women of this country कि तेरे माथे पे ये आंचल बहुत ही खूब है, लेकिन तो इस आंचल से एक परचम बना लेती तो अच्छा था. And that is exactly what we have promised under our 5 guarantees under Nari Nyay, where we have shown the way for 8,500 direct transfer every month to women accounts, 1 woman of every poor family, where we have also promised 50% reservation in government jobs from July 2024 onwards itself. Without any delay, unlike the BJP that has dangled the dream of women reservation act in front of the BJP, in front of the women of this country, with a fanciful renaming, a repackaging of the.
No, but you also voted for it.
The Congress
the women's reservation bill in the Lok Sabha, you voted for it.
That is what I'm saying. That is what.
So if it was fanciful and if it's a carrot that they were dangling, why did you vote for it?
But they have. Because it is originally the Congress's vision, Zaka, but you also have to remember that the M factor that you are talking about and the M factor that Mr. Modi has been talking about is very different. Mutton, machli, Mangal Sutra, Mughal, Mujra. When he talks about Mujra, it is the women that are being rather, I would say, derogated. So a prime minister uttering words like that lowers the discourse, not only generally of an election like 2024, but also the discourse that must focus on women justice, women welfare. But we saw him do otherwise.
Let me talk about the other big M factor, which is perhaps the biggest M factor in this election and has been for the last 10 years, which is the Modi factor. And I'm going to show this on our wall again, as to why when Mr. Modi is on the ticket, and I'll come to Rahul Verma and Sanjay Srivastava right after this in a second. When Mr. Modi is on the ticket, this is a national election, this is a general election, there is in some states anywhere between a 5% difference in some states 10%, some states even a 20% vote share difference when it's a general election, a Lok Sabha election. In the 2014 Lok Sabha polls in Chhattisgarh, for example, the BJP's vote share was 51%. In the 2023 assembly elections in Chhattisgarh, the BJP's vote share was 46. So there's a difference of 4.5% in Chhattisgarh. You look at the next state. In Karnataka, this is a great example because in the 2023 assembly elections, the Congress swept. They got 135 MLAs. The BJP's vote share was down to just 36%. But look at the 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha election results. The BJP had in excess of 50%, which means they had more than 1 out of 2. More than half of the vote share was that of the BJP's, the difference being 16%. In Rajasthan, again, 59% in the 2014